Hello, my dreamers and believers. It's your girl Latina Raven, and this show is called On the Way to Famous. Before there was New Kids on the Block, before there was Backstreet Boys, or even in the late 70s, even through the early 2000s, there was one boy band, one that dominated the airwaves, especially in the 80s. They represented the Latin culture and even crossed over to the English pop charts. They were young, they were sweet, and they swept girls off their feet. Let's welcome Ray Acevedo, former member of Menudo.
I wanted to say that I'm really happy to be here and to all the public that is listening, hello, how you doing? And you're gonna have a special time.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so on this show, we take you to your adolescent
Mhm,
years. So let's start with that, right? So we
mhm.
want to know what little Ray was like way before the fame.
Right. So when I was born into a household of artistry. My dad was like a painter, so I was when I was a little kid, I used to see my father paint all that stuff. I was really good at drawing and stuff like that at school. And but when I went into fifth grade, around fifth grade, there was this kid that auditioned for Menudo, and he was in my school. And it's sort of like it was like Menudo at that time, but I was like 10. I think it was like 79 or something, 70 or 8. No, I'm sorry, it was like we're like 82, around 82, 81, 82, 83. That's when I really started like wanting to be, part of the group because I saw that kid and I was like, damn, if that kid can do it, I could do it. So I went through it. I had my father just brought in some people, they kind of tested me, and they saw that I was, a pretty good singer. I started practicing. Then we figure out that there was a guy that worked in Padosa, and that was my father's lawyer at the same time. And so he was a connection, and he kind of like, brought me in, and I started auditioning. I did the first audition. I was a regular kid. I was just going to school. Big hair. Just doing the regular thing. I love to sing. I did a little singing before, and I was into music, but never did I think that it was going to be something like that. So I auditioned for when Robbie got picked up. When Robbie got in. I auditioned, and then I had my second audition when I was like 12. I think it was like 12, when Ricky got in, and that audition was really gruesome. I mean not gruesome, it was hard. It was like really a lot of work, a lot of like going back, and I knew for a fact that I was like, in the last group of members, or of kids that was like, being seen. So it was really hard when I saw Ricky coming out in the on TV. It was like, the new Menudo. It was like there's a Ricky there. I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm not the next one. And right. So it was a big blow, and I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm not. I'm just, I already started singing. My father bought all this equipment, all this great equipment, and I was, in Puerto Rico, you have like fiestas patronales.
Sí.
You have all kinds of different stuff that happens, and I started singing, and and it was like, I don't want to be in Menudo anymore. I want to be a solo singer. And then, I think around that time, the plane, Menudo plane, they were gonna do a touch and go, and I think they had a crash. I don't remember exactly where. I think it was Santo Domingo or something like that. And I remember that was pretty vivid to me. And then after that news, there was a news that Rey Reyes was coming out of the group. So I was
Mm,
like, oh shit, it was like just
yeah.
6 months after, and then they called me. They're like, hey, we want you to audition this time. And that audition went, very well. It was the only thing was that they were looking for people for a member that spoke well English.
Right.
And I was not really well, I knew English because in Puerto Rico they teach us English, but that was it. I didn't know too much English. So it was kind of hard in the beginning because of that.
So you
Um,
had to basically relearn the language, or just get better at English so you could work with that.
Yeah, in the beginning, Edgardo was kind of upset because, they sold me to him as like, that I spoke English, that I was very fluent in English because it was Robbie spoke English, and the US market was like, pretty big. We were getting into many things in the US market. So we were with Pepsi. But I picked it up right away. It was like maybe like 6 months to a year before I really started, talking. But then after that, it was just, pretty easy. And I mean, to me, it's like, almost my first language now. I mean, I speak
Yeah.
English. Sometimes it's really hard to. But anyways, yeah, that was Menudo. And then, I mean,
So
what you wanted, go ahead.
yeah. So then when you was younger, because I want to keep it from when you was younger too. So all those struggles, that a lot of people
Hmm.
don't understand. They just see the
Hmm.
fame, they don't see the struggle, right? So now as a kid and you was doing all these auditions, aside from that, you was a normal kid, were you like doing normal kid things? Did you have the time to be normal and be a menudo?
Yeah, well, before Menudo, I was pretty normal. I did have I was a pretty crazy kid. In a way, my mom had a school, and she was the owner of the school. So I kind of like, I felt like I was the king of the school. I kind of felt like I could do anything. So from the get-go, I was pretty intense. And I knew that I wanted to do something artistic because I was already painting and stuff like that, and I felt like that was my calling from way, way, young. But I wasn't thinking about being Menudo ever, and or being that kind of famous or singing or doing anything like that. To me, it was like a normal, I was a normal kid. I was going to school. However, when I did decided that I was going to be in Menudo, and my father bought all this equipment for me, I started singing in shopping malls and in different festivities around the island and stuff like that. My life changed because now I was feeling like, hey, I'm an artist,
Yeah.
right? So I'm an artist. I've been singing for 6 months, but I'm an artist. And I was going to school. In school, I was bullied at school in a lot of schools that I went to. I was bullied, and I was really skinny. I was just not. Even though I was intense, and I did at one point or another kind of like stop the bullying. Myself, I kind of stopped it. I was able to stop it. Um, but it was kind of like rough because when I started singing, then everything changed for me. I in school, I was just normal. People knew in school because I sang. My father made me sing in front of the school, which was like terribly like nerve-wracking for me, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like he made me sing in school, like in my high school, my own
Oh,
high school, where I go to freaking, you know, with this like thing around my neck and this whole crazy big hair, and I was like, damn, man. I looked at it back now, and I'm like, you're crazy doing that to me, man. Really? I mean, come on.
well, I mean,
So
the way you look back then and the way you look now is completely different. I'll tell you
yeah, it is.
much.
It is. But it's I'm 52 now, so I mean, we're talking about like over 40 years of
Right,
of life.
right.
Everybody changes. But I guess if you look at Ruben Gomez, maybe he hasn't changed that much. You could still see him. Yeah, I mean, like the face and stuff. I mean, he was obviously different, or maybe you could tell Ralphie, kind of
Yeah,
like he hasn't. But I changed. I lost my hair, so that's something that I grew my beard. So yeah, I mean, my physicality has changed a lot. I'm a little bigger or whatnot. But anyways, going back to when I was a kid.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it was like really weird those days in high school. I was going to a Christian high school as well, and all the kids knew that I was a singer. So some the girls wanted to like hang out with me. The guys were trying to bully me.
Mhm.
So it was a lot of fights, a lot of like it was crazy. And
Yeah.
then nobody believed that I was going to be Menudo. I mean, I even got this girl came up to me. It's like, oh, if you get into Menudo, you know, I'm gonna be like, I don't even remember what she said, but she said that if I was gonna be Menudo, she was gonna be like a big, in a big group. And I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, whatever. And I was already in the group. I was already chosen to the groups. I was like, okay, whatever.
Oh
But I
my
had a
God,
lot of that.
she probably sees
And
you now and it's like, oh man. You know what I
no,
mean? It's
actually, yeah, I see
one of
some of
those
those people.
situations. Yeah,
I see
yeah,
some of those people back. Yeah, I have, and it's kind of cool, to see them.
yeah.
But yeah.
So then tell us what it was like the first time that you heard
Mhm.
one of your songs that you were singing on the radio.
Well, I think the first real song that I heard on the radio. Remember, we didn't spend too much time in Puerto Rico. Um, when we heard heard things on the radio were when we went to do the interviews or whatnot. But to hear it on the radio, I think in San Juan Me Enamoré was the really first one that I heard on
Mhm.
the radio in San Juan Me Enamoré. Menudo was a phenomenon that I think not until RCA, we were really not on the radio. I mean, it was more like, yeah, a lot of promotion, but that whole thing of like having a song on the radio, playing all the time, I guess we did, but it was a different time. It was more like, let's just go promote, bust our asses and just get the show going, and that's what worked. I mean, and we did have songs on the radio. But I think when RCA came in and United States came in, that's when If You're Not Here came in and all those songs. But my first song that I heard was in San Juan Menamore, I think it was, yeah.
Okay, so then what was it like to make the crossover, right? Because you guys were predominantly Latin and you were
hmm
catering to the Latin community, and then they wanted you to cross over into the English and pop.
hmm
So what was that like for you?
Man, Menudo was great. I mean, every experience was fantastic. We were, moving from one great experience to another great experience. So for me, the fact of being in Brazil and having to, speak Portuguese and be there with all those people and have that, and then be able to go to the States and sing for those people to completely different, culture, completely different crowd, and see the amount of impact that you have on, or the music or whatever the group, has on that culture, on those people, and then around the world on the other side too, and it's kind of crazy to see it. I think the crossover was something that it was smooth because I came in at a moment where Menudo was already, we had done Madison Square Garden, Radio City Music Hall, all that stuff had passed, and we were like on the second tier, of the United States, and it was fantastic. I mean, it was just, being with RCA, being with Menudo in Pepsi, it was just really cool stuff. I mean, um, but again, I had a little issue over there speaking the language in the beginning.
Yeah.
It came gradually.
Yeah, well, it sounds good now. It sounds good now. But then,
hmm
yeah, yeah. So then now you guys have a documentary, Forever Young, Menudo Forever Young,
hmm
on HBO Max. And,
hmm
there's a lot of controversy within. Yeah.
hmm
Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, look, like any experience in life, I mean, obviously Menudo is very focused. People focus a lot on it because it was very, very big. These things happen in everything, in every group. There's always some kind of like negative, there's always some kind of positive. But the HBO documentary, of course, is going to be controversial because it's focused. If you really watch it, you see that they show the story of the group and how it grew. But then we go into the story of each member. There was a lot of work. There was a lot of unwanted, also unwanted people around that, that kind of like, kind of try to take advantage, of us, or or of the situation.
Right.
There was a lot of that, and there was a lot of I think one of the worst things that I feel that was part of the group was the competition that the owner, I don't even want to mention his name, the owner of the group, sort of exerted within us, like, hey, like it was always a competition. Like up until this day, there is this always this competition between menudos. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like there's always this competition. It's never gonna stop. Right now, I am more like, with Sergio, Ruben, and Ralphie. We're like talking more and being more friendly and more, but it hasn't been like that all these years. And it's because
Right.
of that, because Menudo, that was the culture in there. It was like, I want more songs of this guy, or this guy is getting more songs. It wasn't like we were brothers, and that happens in every family, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he's getting like the best toys, and I'm not getting the, and so it was, you see what I'm saying? Like, it happens. There was some kids that were abused, sexually.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mistreatment, emotional mistreatment from, many times. Um, and, and those kids, come out, they need to come out, or whomever it is, they need to come out and talk about it. I mean, I think in the documentary, some of them talked about some of this, intense things. So, I had a great experience. Besides the negative, to me, the positive was, much more intense, But yeah, it was, at a point or another, the negative, it's just like life, it's just, sometimes you get tired of going to work. You don't want to do that show. That one day it's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get up today. I don't want to get up at 5 in the morning to do interviews so I can have
Yeah.
it was a lot of work, and then also the money. The money wasn't like, what it wasn't like the amount of money wasn't, equal to the amount of work, you
Yeah.
know. So
Well,
all
I
those
mean, you
things.
had someone else handling that at the time. And when you're so young, if you
Hmm.
get famous that quickly and then you
Hmm.
have an abundance of money that quickly and you don't
Hmm.
know what to do with it, yeah, and
Hmm.
you're not
Yeah.
understanding the business
Yeah,
side of
well, look, my parents were taking care of my money, but that wasn't the issue.
it.
The
Hmm.
issue was that there was not enough money coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, what I was making, maybe if you put it like, hey, this kid, he is 13 years old. He's making, this amount of money a month. I mean, he's making a lot of money for 13, but you're in a band that's making millions of dollars a month, and you're busting ass. I mean, nobody at 21 that I knew was busting their asses like I was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I deserved that money,
Of course. Of course.
but never got it. I mean, yeah, I mean, the money that I got, maybe it was squander a little bit, but it wasn't enough money to even make an investment, or so it was just, anyway.
No, no, no.
But
Understandable.
cool, I don't complain really in that sense. I mean, it's in this, it is what it is.
Mhm.
And what it brought me at this point is, I feel like this is my time now to get that money back, and to get that, from, that's why I don't hesitate on using Menudo, for my resume,
Yeah.
you know.
So then now bringing you to where you
Hmm.
currently are, right? That was all the struggles when you was younger. So
Hmm.
now going solo and having to
Hmm.
do all of that, what was that like, that transition like?
Transition was hard, I mean, the first couple of years, it was just like, man, I get pissing in the wind, I mean, it's just like doing nothing. I mean, I guess they're formative years. You need that time to form, I tried a couple of things. It didn't work out, I was just like, very demanding coming out of the group, I thought that I was like, I need this, I had offers, and I thought the offers were too low for my status. And one thing led to the other. I was like, I got fed up with the whole Menudo thing, so I just went to New York, started doing theater over there, started doing my own music. I had a band, so I kind of like got involved. I forgot about fame, forgot about, I just wanted to do art. I just wanted to like so find myself, and theater caught my attention. I did a couple of musicals, off of Broadway theater, and one thing led to the other, and uh, but at the same time, I was just like, I was just, I mean, to be completely honest, I was just doing a lot of drugs, and, I
Mm.
was just, what I'm saying? Like, so life wasn't, when you're in that kind of like mentality, you're not really like, your life is not that easy,
Right.
So even though I was doing all this stuff, I wasn't really taking advantage of the situation of being in New York, being an ex-Menudo, being, all this stuff. I wasn't even looking at that. I wasn't even introducing myself as that. So, you know, and I had to leave it. I had to leave that because of my, of my lifestyle. I was like, I'm gonna die doing this. And
Yeah.
so I kind of, that's where I stopped, and I decided come to Florida. I got involved in painting, drawing, and all that stuff. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell everybody because a lot of people don't know that you're a
Hmm.
horror fan from what I see. You're a
Hmm.
horror fan and you've
Hmm.
done quite a few characters that I know. I
Mm-hmm.
see Edgar Allan Poe, and my name is Raven, so it goes, it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then so, tell us about some of the horror movies that you've done, you've written, and also tell us about some appearances and stuff on shows that you've
Mm-hmm. Well, look, you know, one thing led to the other with this. I love Gothic. I love, in New York. I love, rock. I love, anything that has to do with Edgar Allan Poe, poetry, dark poetry, Artaud and theater. I'm very much into all that Gothic, scene. Love the music, love, The Cure, love, the Depeche Mode, Tool. I'm like all into all that stuff. And no, it's been a very very big influence on my life. And when I move into now that I'm moving into TV and film, obviously because of my look, because of the way that I portray myself, I've been shifting, and all these producers and all these casting directors have sort of like, in a way, typecast me
yeah,
as the villain. I don't mind it because it keeps food on my table, right? I'm working. They're
and it's
calling
fun.
me up, and it's fun. I mean, it's fun to be the bad guy. It's fun to like be the one that doesn't care how he is perceived. I mean, that's the main thing. The bad guy just doesn't care. So that alone gives you this freedom of being whatever the hell you want. And I like that about acting. When you're
Yeah.
the good guy, it's a little different. But yeah, it's been a journey. I did a movie called my first movie directing, and that's gonna come now to the market in May. It's called Killer Winter. It's about a serial killer, about two serial killers, their lives and how they connect. And I've done a couple of movies for other, companies, producers. I did one with Danny Trejo named
Machete.
Amer yeah, American Sicario, right? Where I play Warden Ramos, this cruel and nasty warden. At the end of the film, I always tell people, it's like, hey, I watched the film, but I didn't see you. It's like, yeah, you didn't watch the whole film. um, because I'm at the end. I'm like the last 20 minutes when he gets caught. And then I did a couple of things that I've done, for Legacies. That
Mhm.
it's a program for TV. I've done a couple of other movies that are coming now this year. One is Attack of the Meth Gator. But I love horror. That's where I'm at. The detective, suspense, crime, serial killer. That's, I love that. The occult, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Together, all that craziness. The Exorcist. I'm gonna go see the Exorcist, the new one. Oh, baby, I'm
Yeah.
going to see that.
Me too, but
Oh
I
yeah.
love how you light up when you're talking about, like, horror and stuff. Let me tell you, that could be a whole other show because I love horror too. So, and the
Hmm.
gothic and the metal, all of that. So, but we're
Hmm.
gonna continue with you. So let us know what's up next for you and what are you working on?
Okay, so yeah, I am very invested, as you know, in TV and film. I have a couple of projects that are on the works, where I am trying to prepare everything, get the budgets, get the producers. I am in the middle of everything. These two projects. One is called Nightfall. It's sort of a sci-fi project, and then the other one, it's called to this point, it's called Lost at Sea. It's going to be in Spanish, and it's going to be about the Puerto Rico gangs, and their traffic of drugs and stuff like that. So that's going to be the two projects that I'm looking at doing this year. And then I have a couple of movies that are coming out. Obviously, in the music part, I have a song named Clitosis, because nowadays, well, we used to put albums out. Now we put like singles out and singles, and then after a couple of singles, then you put the album out. So this is the first single of a couple that are coming out. It's called Clitosis, and it's a very cool song. You can pick it up at any digital platform that you want. The video, I just announced it yesterday. Yeah, you can see it on Cinco de Mayo. You're gonna be able to see it on my YouTube channel, Raymond Acevedo, aka Odebeca.
Mhm.
And that's it. I mean, I'm just putting music out, promoting the song, and hopefully people catch up with it. Go to my Instagram if you want to know more about that stuff.
So I was trying to get the fan to come in, but she's not responding. But I do have the question from her, and her
Mm-hmm.
name is Lourdes Piñero, and she's from Brooklyn, right? So she wants to ask him, okay, if he feels comfortable sharing the sacrifices that come with being famous, as the audience sees only the highlights.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking. Basically, this program has been about that, right? I mean, it's life is life. I mean, everybody we're in the same boat, all of us. We all wake up in the morning, we all get that nasty stuff in our eyes, we gotta peel it out, we gotta go to the bathroom, we gotta brush our teeth.
Yeah,
I mean, we gotta eat in the morning. Some of us drink coffee, some of us drink tea.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, the struggles are big. I mean, remember, it's a very volatile industry, right? I mean, you could be up one day, down one day. It's really up to you, the amount of promotion that you do, the amount of like energy that you put in. The players that come in, producers, musicians, and all these people. Sometimes are people they're cool. Sometimes are people that just want to take advantage
yeah.
of the situation and the fact that you were famous.
What's your
Dealing
advice
with
to the younger generation?
dealing with fame itself, I haven't had the problem of, I mean, when I was in Menudo, it was kind of hard. At one point, it was like, oh my God, I can't do shit. It's like I can't go anywhere. But after Menudo, I changed and stuff like that. So that whole part of pain of like people coming up to me and like, in the middle of the street or taking pictures from, that doesn't happen too much anymore. It's been happening more since I started, promoting and stuff like that. And we had the Tribeca Film Festival that we went there with the Menudo thing. And, people started recognizing me on the streets, sometimes in New York and this and that. That's super cool. I'm pretty sure when it gets to be like overpowering, it becomes a little bit hard because you can't do anything. I saw an interview with Harrison Ford the other day. He was like, "Oh my God, I hated it, and I couldn't have a cup of coffee," you
Yeah,
know, because people were not even taking pictures. You knew that people were just looking at you. It's like, "Oh, there he is, the guy from Indiana Jones."
yeah, yeah,
But to the young generation, just keep doing it. Just do what you love. Just don't worry about what other people say. And do your thing. Nowadays, it's like you have all the tools in your hands to promote. You have all the tools in your hands. You don't need a record label. You don't need anybody to do anything for you as an artist. You have all the tools there. Of course, there are levels.
yeah.
There are levels and there are levels. I mean, and just keep doing it and keep striving. I pissed away a couple of years there. That I really could have been doing more than I did. So I exhort everybody. Every young cat out there that is doing music or is doing anything in life, don't waste your time, because you're 21 day and then the next day you're 50,
Oh my
right?
God. Oh my God, I know. Don't even remind me.
Yeah, no, it's the freaking truth. It's a freaking truth, and you hear your parents tell you, but it's true. All of a sudden, you're like you wake up one day and you're 50, and you just don't know. Okay, well,
What happened?
it's like that. So do your due diligence while you're younger. I mean, I don't regret really anything because at the end of the day, everybody has their time, everybody has their place. If you don't do it when you're 20 or 30, you can do it when you're 40. If you don't do it when you're 40, you can do it when you're 50. If you don't do it when you can do it when you're 60. Just do it. All right. I know people that started acting when they were 84, all
Yeah,
right, and became famous. So it's a matter of like, do it.
right. So now I have one last question, right?
Hmm.
You're going on this tour, you're talking about everything that you've done, you're talking about everything that's coming up. Can you tell us something nobody else knows?
Uh, well, I mean, I could tell you about the formation that we're trying to do, but not everybody knows about that. But some people know already about that. About we're trying to, get the Sons of Rock together again and do
Mm.
some things. Yeah, we've been having talks and stuff like that to do that. That's something that people don't know. And it's hush hush. Don't tell anybody just yet. Only you people that I'm telling you right now because it's a big surprise. We're gonna start doing promotion pretty soon, though. We already recorded some songs. We're talking to professional people. There's always a possibility. You know how things are, that things might go sour,
Yeah.
but we're really strong. We're really the four of us together. Sergio Blas, Ruben, Kane, Ralphie Rodriguez, and and me and I. We're really solid in what we want to do. So there is something gonna go on. It just depends. We don't know when exactly. It's probably gonna start like solid, solid, solid by the end of this year.
Yay! Well, thank you again for being on my show. This was amazing. I love having
Thank you for having me. Oh my God, thank you for having me, and all the beautiful people that are listening to us. Thank you for being here, and all the support. And
you. Yeah,
go to Raymond Acevedo official on Instagram and Facebook, and right there you can basically see everything that I'm doing. And you can keep in touch with me, because I'm usually like answering people over there. It's becoming a little harder because I got like 2,000 people on my DM now, but yeah,
yeah, but it's fun.
I
It's
try
fun
to.
because in the middle of the night when you can't sleep or something, you just let me answer some fans.
Right, right, right. But I try to answer like with the words or some, but sometimes it's hard. So now I have this little what you call it, the little guy that looks like me, the little emoji, right? So
Oh
emoji,
yeah.
emoji is what it called, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
have my
The
own emoji, and I
avatars,
send the emoji
avatars. The
avatar, right?
avatars.
So I
Yeah.
send the avatar doing this and doing stuff like that because it's quick, right? But I like to answer people. I like to answer people a little, with especially with this whole thing that there were like a couple of people out there trying to sort of like do false accounts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I've been having to sort of answer people, hey, it's false, reported. Don't worry about it. It's not me. I'm not. People think that I was hacked. I was not hacked. It's just a false account. If I was hacked, it would be coming from my account, which is the Raymond Acevedo official.
Yeah.
Uh, you know,
Okay.
I have right now. I have 19,000.7 followers, so people can know that it's because
That's real deal.
that's my page, right? So there you go. Be careful out there.
Well, again, thank you for being on my show. This was amazing, and
On the
everybody
way to
look out.
famous.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody look out for stuff to come that we can't talk about, and the music and the movie, because I'm gonna want to go
Mhm.
see that.
Yeah,
All
watch the movie. I don't know where the movie's gonna come out, in what platform, but it's probably gonna be either YouTube or Amazon, one of the two. It's not gonna cost too much. If it's in YouTube, it's basically for free. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's an awesome movie. It's my first movie as a director. I did some acting in it, pretty spooky acting. So you're gonna see me at another level of spookiness in that movie. So
I seen the
if you can't stomach it, don't watch it.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. All right. Again, thank you. Thank you. So for the rest of you, you already know, hit your girl up and then, we'll have more fun with the show. So until next time, you got to do this with me. Stay safe, stay humble, and as always, lift your arms up like this and stay
Stay
fabulous.
fabulous, 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 fabulous.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.